Okay, we go straight to item 8, endorsement of the procedure, followed for the inscription of Joumou soup submitted by Haiti on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. ADG, the floor is yours to present this item to us.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. Felicitaciones a todos los miembros nuevos elegidos. A nombre del secretariado, contamos obviamente y cuentan con todo nuestro apoyo para su futura instalación. Este punto específico se refiere, voy a pedirle que los saludos se hagan fuera de la sala, por favor. Gracias. Este punto se refiere a la solicitud presentada por Haití de tratar la candidatura Joumou para su inscripción en la lista representativa en el ciclo 2021 con un calendario acelerado basado en motivos ligados a la solidaridad y como un caso excepcional, justificada por las catástrofes naturales consecutivas que asolaron el país en agosto del año 2021. En un contexto de amplia agitación social y política a la que se enfrentó el pueblo de Haití. En el documento de trabajo 8 encontrarán la hoja de ruta seguida para tramitar la solicitud de Haití. Deseo subrayar que la candidatura se sometió a una evaluación completa por parte del órgano de evaluación y a su recomendación fue positiva. Sobre esta base, la Secretaría incluyó el asunto en el orden del día provisional en la 16ª reunión del Comité e informó a la Mesa al respecto. Se informó al Comité de que en virtud de las disposiciones de la Convención, el Comité está facultado para examinar una solicitud de inscripción y decidir al respecto sobre la base de los procedimientos previstos en las directivas operativas que establece la Asamblea General. Por lo tanto, como la inscripción tuvo lugar en circunstancias que no estaban previstas en las directivas operativas, el procedimiento seguido por el Comité y su decisión de inscripción requieren el respaldo de la Asamblea General. Por ello, este caso se somete a la atención de la presente sesión de la Asamblea a petición del Comité. Permítame añadir, señora Presidente, que al decidir la inscripción de Joumou en la lista representativa, el Comité invitó al Grupo de Trabajo Intergubernamental de Composición Abierta sobre la reflexión de la lista a examinar los procedimientos para los casos excepcionales y esta forma parte de las cuestiones que serán tratadas en el siguiente punto 9. Gracias, señora Presidenta, y quedamos a su disposición.
Thank you, Mr. ADG. I now open the floor for anybody who wishes to take the floor. Grenada, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, first of all, I would like to congratulate Haiti for the inscription on the representative list of the soup, Joumou soup. It is their first inscription, and we wholeheartedly congratulate them. There is no doubt that it was inscribed. Now, the procedure has been exceptional procedure for exceptional circumstances, and we consider that the General Assembly has no say to accept or endorse this procedure. It is exceptional, so I will have a very slight amendment to do in paragraph 5 of the decision. Thank you, Madam Chair.
We have Barbados, Azerbaijan, and Estonia in the speakers list, and we'd like to know whether there are other delegations who wish to take the floor. Palestine? Ethiopia? Okay. And due to time constraints, we have to close the list after this. ADG, kindly read the speakers list.
So, if I call you, please, you can put it down. Barbados, Azerbaijan, Estonia, France, Morocco, Paraguay, Poland, Japan, Malaysia, Palestine, Panama, Paraguay, Uruguay, Venezuela, Colombia, Djibouti. Did I forget somebody? Morocco is inside. Island, Cook Island. Argentina? Sorry, Cuba asked me, she was the fifth. Sorry. Yes, Ethiopia. I mentioned Poland. Kenya. Ethiopia, I have it. Estonia, I have it. Slovakia. Chile, Brazil. I didn't forget anybody? No, Ethiopia, I have it. And Argentina. Yes. Botswana. Very well.
Due to time constraints, we have to close the speakers list as of now. And I call on Barbados to take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Barbados congratulates Haiti on this inscription of the Joumou soup. We also note the efforts of the committee in understanding the circumstances that resulted in its acceleration, and we commend them for maintaining the high level of evaluation and diligently following the Convention's procedures and guidelines. We also know that Haiti's circumstance can be represented throughout other CARICOM member states because of the ever-present threat of natural disasters and their deleterious effects on our intangible cultural heritage. For us in the Caribbean, the safeguarding of our intangible cultural heritage has become increasingly urgent, particularly when considering the devastating impact that the unpredictable, volatile, destructive, and often disruptive hurricane season has on our countries and our economies. Disaster risk management and resilience for Caribbean small island development states like Barbados has become an integral part of our development planning, specifically where intangible cultural heritage is concerned. These disasters can leave devastating consequences and lasting damage, and the severity of which depends on the affected populations, and the resilience also to our infrastructure. However, less visible are the threats presented to our cultural sector across the region. In response, our government is seeking to mitigate against these impacts through an extensive digitization program. We recognize that digitization is central to the entire process of protecting our cultural heritage, and also has the potential to benefit several categories of users and future generations, because digitization is a means of safeguarding our cultural heritage and preserving images of the past and the present. It is also not our intention to address the impact of climate change or intangible cultural heritage singularly, but through global cooperation. Barbados leads the call for the increase in technical and financial support to SIDS and to mitigate against its impact. Indeed, our Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mayor Moore Motley, In her address, the COP26 called for greater global financial commitment to address the disastrous effects of climate change and challenge nations to do more. I would like to say to the House that the failure to provide the critical finance and the loss of damage is measured in lives and livelihoods in all our communities. This is immoral and is also unjust. The time for action is now, and as we look to mark the Convention's 20th anniversary, Barbados would reflect a greater awareness to these issues and would seek to drum up international support going forward. I thank you.
Thank you, and just a reminder about time constraints. Please limit your intervention to 2 minutes. Thank you. Next is Azerbaijan. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me the floor. First of all, please, I would like to congratulate the newly elected members to the committee and wish them all the good luck. Madam Chair, Azerbaijan would like to congratulate Haiti and its people on this inscription, which has given a sense of pride and encouragement to the communities of Haiti, which this element of intangible cultural heritage helps to unite and make more inclusive. We remember the extensive discussions held on this topic during our last committee meeting, and that's why we would therefore invite this Assembly to endorse this nomination, congratulate Haiti, and adopt the draft resolution as a whole. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And Estonia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And also, Estonia would like to congratulate those new committee members, and we will endorse their endeavors in their work in the coming years fully. Estonia believes that the accelerated examination by the committee of the Joumou soup nomination proposed by Haiti is a good example of the committee's flexibility, goodwill, and ability to act quickly, even in a somewhat uncharted territory. We have no hesitation in endorsing the exceptional procedure used because great care was taken by both the Secretariat and the committee to treat it under the same substantive requirements as any other nomination file. The evaluation body conducted full assessment of the file and recommended it for inscription. We would also like to congratulate Haiti once again for this well-deserved inscription. Just a few days ago, we were able to celebrate the inscription of the Ukrainian nomination, Culture of Ukrainian Borscht Cooking, to the urgent safeguarding list as a case of extreme urgency in the sense of Article 17.3 of the Convention. Indeed, given the ongoing full-scale war of the Russian Federation against Ukraine and the natural disasters and social turmoil that struck Haiti, we are reminded once again that ICH cannot be separated by its practitioners, and its safeguarding is therefore indivisible from the protection of the lives and well-being of its bearers. It is also of interest to note that both of these nominations concern the culture of soup making. Food is to be shared and enjoyed together. Both Joumou soup and Ukrainian borscht cooking represent an inclusive cultural phenomenon with which all segments of society identify. Thank you.
Thank you. And France, you have the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Donc, la France félicite Haïti pour l'inscription de ce nouvel élément sur la liste représentative. Toutefois, il est regrettable que les directives opérationnelles ne disent mot des procédures hors calendrier telles que celle qui a permis au dossier d'être examiné. Et en fait, de façon générale, le manque de clarté dans les statuts, règlements et procédures de l'UNESCO peut parfois être vu comme une forme de flexibilité et un atout, mais de notre point de vue, il demande à être comblé car il est porteur d'un risque non négligeable de blocage pour des programmes qui traitent d'enjeux politiques et culturels qui peuvent faire l'objet de tensions par ailleurs, comme en témoignent certains blocages, par exemple Mémoire du Monde jusqu'en 2021. C'est aussi pour cela que nous avons souhaité que des critères parmi les plus clairs possibles soient définis pour l'inscription des sites de mémoire ou associés à des conflits récents dans le cadre de la Convention de 72 sur le patrimoine mondial. Merci.
Thank you. Cuba, you have the floor.
Sí, gracias, señora presidenta. Como un pequeño Estado insular en desarrollo, vecino y hermano, una hermandad que nos une al pueblo haitiano, nosotros celebramos también la inscripción de la sopa Joumou a la lista representativa del patrimonio inmaterial, sobre todo en el contexto en que fue inscrita en una situación compleja que vive ese hermano país y que constituye siempre un mensaje alentador cómo la cultura puede generar un espacio de reconciliación entre el pueblo y poder desarrollar verdaderamente una cultura de paz. Por eso nuestro país también se suma a las felicitaciones. Hemos seguido con mucha atención los debates que suscitó el procedimiento de la presentación del expediente, pero con Haití siempre, bueno, Haití tiene una particularidad muy especial para nosotros y, por supuesto, las urgencias de este hermano país demandan una atención especial. Sin embargo, Cuba también reafirma la importancia de fortalecer los mecanismos de conciliación de estos temas a fin de evitar situaciones debates que se generaron en el ámbito del comité y que sin dudas también generan una situación compleja dentro de la gestión de las decisiones del órgano. Sin embargo, nos parece, y reitero, que es fundamental que esta convención y que el UNESCO sigan promoviendo la cultura como un elemento de reconciliación para solución de conflictos y también, sobre todo, para aquellos países como el grupo de pequeños estados insulares en desarrollo que sufren de urgencias fundamentales y que la cultura tiene sin dudas un impacto fundamental en la transformación social y en la solución de estos problemas. A Haití y a la embajadora Dominique, un fuerte abrazo y nuestra mayor felicitación por esta inscripción, la primera que inscribe este hermano país en la lista representativa.
Thank you. Morocco, you have the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je joins ma voix à l'ensemble des collègues qui se sont exprimés pour présenter mes plus sincères félicitations à Haïti pour cette inscription. Et je suis très heureux que nous n'ayons pas fonctionné lors du dernier comité comme des techniciens de la culture, mais comme des hommes imprégnés de valeurs et de principes. Et effectivement, comme cela a été souligné par Madame l'ambassadeur de Cuba, c'est ce qui nous rassemble ici, c'est ce qui fait la beauté de cette convention de 2003. Et donc je suis extrêmement heureux parce que nous avons adressé un message de solidarité, de compassion, d'amitié à l'ensemble du peuple haïtien dans un contexte de drame national et j'en suis extrêmement heureux. Encore une fois, je m'adresse à Dominique, toutes mes félicitations et bon vent pour le peuple d'Haïti. Merci infiniment.
Thank you. Paraguay, you have the floor.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Quisiera felicitarla por la excelente conducción de la Asamblea. En relación al punto 8, quisiéramos manifestar nuestro apoyo al respaldo del procedimiento excepcional aplicado por la 16ª sesión para inscribir el elemento en la lista representativa. Entendemos que el comité, a solicitud del gobierno de Haití, examinó la candidatura de la sopa Joumou para su inscripción en la lista representativa de forma acelerada en el ciclo 2021 tras los sucesivos desastres naturales. Asimismo, se realizó la evaluación completa por parte del órgano de evaluación que consideró que la solicitud se presentó en el marco de una multitud de factores, en particular los desastres naturales consecutivos que afectaron el país en un contexto de amplia agitación social y política. A menudo el arte culinario refleja los momentos de la historia y la cultura colectiva de los pueblos. La sopa de Haití tiene esos condimentos. Por todas estas razones, señora presidenta, deseamos reiterar el apoyo para que la sopa Joumou sea inscripta en la lista representativa del Patrimonio Inmaterial de la UNESCO y felicitamos al hermano pueblo haitiano por esto. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, and I now call on Japan. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. I would also like to congratulate Haiti for this inscription. Many people have made many different points, natural disasters, and also the first inscription for Haiti. All of those things were considered in the committee, and we came up with a very positive outcome. Now, I would like to remind the delegations here that at that time, a few countries expressed some concerns not about the Haiti file. They supported the Haiti file, but nevertheless, a concern was expressed about the implications of that. That was a more systemic issue. And that issue has been discussed in the working group that I was chairing, and it is a part of my report after this item. So now we have come to an agreement on how to deal with those emergency cases, and I'm going to report it maybe tomorrow on the item regarding the working group. So I think everything is very much settled, and I would like to congratulate all the concerned parties, and particularly Ambassador of Haiti, Dominique, for this inscription. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Malaysia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the appointment of all new committee members. Malaysia expresses solidarity with Haiti and its people and recognizes the relevance to accelerate the inscription of Joumou soup. Malaysia takes note that the evaluation body has considered the nomination satisfied all criteria for the inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity as stated in the operational directives under the 2003 Convention. And Malaysia is of the view that the safeguarding and preservation of Joumou soup should not be delayed, and its listing serves to enhance visibility of elements that contribute to recovery from the effects of natural disasters. In this regard, Malaysia would like to congratulate Haiti for the listing of Joumou soup as part of the 2021 cycle on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you. And now, Poland, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Poland also wishes to congratulate Haiti on the inscription of the Joumou soup on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage. As I mentioned yesterday, difficult times demand special actions to be undertaken. Poland is very proud that this decision has been taken last year during the committee session. We have indeed a long discussion, and some of the colleagues mentioned so far, on the way how we want to proceed during this special request of the government of Haiti regarding the fact that the country has been affected by national hazards in the time of the political upheaval. So, but just by saying that, we want to underline that this decision has been taken and because of the committee decided that without having any procedure on the extreme basis, we decided to inscribe the Joumou soup regarding the circumstances and the circumstances and the request of the Haiti. By saying that, there has been a lot of said also about the fact whether the General Assembly has any competences in endorsing any acts of the committee. So by saying that, I wanted to specify that we would like to see the amendment presented by the distinguished colleague of Grenada. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Palestine, you have the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. I will try to be very brief, just trying. First of all, I would like to congratulate Haiti for the inscription of the soup, just like all our colleagues. And I would like to stress something that has been said by many colleagues, like France and Japan. It has been discussed during the working group, it is true. But the problem is that we have no legal text for emergency cases. The committee did it for the Joumou soup, and it was necessary because there was an emergency. And there was an extraordinary session also for Ukraine, the same case. But these cases were inscribed on exceptional basis, and we congratulate the committee for reaching an understanding regarding these elements. Nevertheless, I think for the future, this should serve as a lesson for us. We need to have a legal text for the emergency cases and not to keep it exceptional treatment. And we can get inspired, I mentioned it already, we can get inspired from the 1972 convention, where there is a special procedure called emergency procedure, where the timetable is not anymore the usual timetable for the cycle. So please, I ask the Secretariat to take note of this remark in order in the future to amend the operational guidelines and to have something, maybe you can change the name, but you can have the same name, emergency procedure, that applies on all these cases. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Panama, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to speak in English because the text of the resolution that I have is in that language. First of all, we would like to join our voices to the celebrations that have been expressed here for the inscription of the Haiti soup. We feel that our celebration is nothing compared to the happiness that was lived and the feast that was last December in Haiti when they took notice that we had approved this inscription. This is an issue that is new, like has been said, for many of us. But looking at the foreword of the text of our convention, I'm going to permit me of reading the following. It says, to account for changes in intangible heritage and living heritage, there have been developments in terms of the scope and reach. The first one in terms of the dialogue that has been improved during the nomination process. The second one concerns the provision of guidance to safeguard in cases of emergency in response to the rising number of conflicts and natural hazards worldwide. But particularly, I think we should underline the fact that it uses the text in terms of the living heritage to underline the powerful tool for resilience and recovery. And this is one of the central discussions of the discussion we had back in December. The proposal and nomination of Haiti goes beyond this cold text of regulations and directives with which we have been accustomed to deal anytime we see a nomination. In this case, we're talking of people that have seen through this nomination a support to help them in the recovery of the conflicts, the death of the president at that moment, and natural disasters. So we should congratulate ourselves because we were able to respond on time to a request from a member state and a colleague from all of us. So in this sense, and finalizing the delegation of Panama support integrally the draft resolution that is in front of us, and we express our support to the endorsement that is required from this assembly. Thank you.
Thank you. Paraguay, you have the floor.
Ya intervine, Presidenta.
Please. Correction, please. Uruguay, you have the floor.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. Primero, permítame felicitar a todos los Estados miembros que han ingresado al comité. Les deseo muy buenos trabajos y éxitos en sus tareas. En segundo lugar, señora presidenta, en 1878 mi país compartió aquí en París stand en la Exposición Universal con Haití. Por supuesto que esa decisión no se debió a nosotros, sino a los organizadores, pero creo que es una feliz coincidencia de nuestras cercanías con Haití y con su pueblo. En ese marco es que celebramos profundamente que se haya inscrito la sopa Joumou y entendemos que ha sido una acción de flexibilidad encartada en los principios fundamentales de nuestra Convención al servicio de la humanidad, lo que es en realidad nuestro sentido principal, el patrimonio vivo. Ha tenido una oportunidad única con esta inscripción y realmente creemos que es un momento alto de la Convención en sí mismo. En ese sentido también entendemos de que estamos ante una situación especial y, como bien señaló Barbados, una situación que sin embargo nos puede alcanzar a todos. Tenemos una reflexión que realizar en ese sentido y creo que podemos y debemos. La cultura, como bien señalaba Cuba, tiene un poder transformador y sanador. Lo sabemos todos y lo hemos dicho en múltiples oportunidades en esta casa. Hoy creo que la Asamblea puede celebrar ese poder transformador y sanador. La cultura, decía el escritor argentino Julio Cortázar, es un ejercicio profundo de la identidad. Nuestras gastronomías, todas las nuestras, son parte fundantes de nuestra identidad. En ese sentido, hoy somos más ricos porque contamos con el elemento de Haití y en ese sentido creo que solamente podemos dedicarnos a aplaudir y celebrar sin perjuicio de todas las reflexiones que a futuro podremos realizar. Muchas gracias, señora presidenta.
Thank you. Djibouti, you have the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Madame la Présidente, Djibouti voudrait ici réitérer sa position exprimée lors de la réunion du comité en décembre 2021, son soutien plein et entier à l'inscription de la soupe au giroman présentée par Haïti. Nous voulons ici féliciter Haïti pour cette inscription qui n'a pas démérité puisque l'organe d'évaluation l'a recommandée selon son mérite avec les 5 critères techniquement reçus. Madame la Présidente, nous sommes des diplomates, des êtres humains, avec des principes et des valeurs ici réunis, et la situation qui prévalait en son temps, au moment de l'inscription, nous nous devions de démontrer au peuple haïtien, meurtri dans sa chair, que l'UNESCO s'est levé comme une organisation pétrie de compassion et a tenu à démontrer sa solidarité en inscrivant la soupe au giroman comme étant le premier élément inscrit pour Haïti. Bien sûr, nos félicitations vont à notre collègue Dominique qui a fait un travail formidable. Madame la Présidente, aujourd'hui c'est un jour de célébration pour démontrer notre unité dans notre diversité. Nous voulons ici, Madame la Présidente, féliciter les membres élus aujourd'hui et dire que notre pays a, durant ces 4 dernières années, servi en tant que membre du comité et pendant 2 ans en tant que membre vice-président du groupe 5A et a apporté sa modeste contribution comme pays, mais également comme vice-président. Et je voudrais à cet égard, Madame la Présidente, pour clore mon propos, remercier tous les soutiens et en particulier de ceux de mon groupe, le groupe 5A, qui m'a fait confiance pendant 2 mandats au sein de ce comité, et aux nouveaux rentrants leur dire bonne chance, bon courage, prenez du plaisir dans un comité où il y a un groupe soudé, où nous essayons de montrer autant que nous pouvons notre solidarité et montrer que l'UNESCO n'est pas seulement des mots, mais également des actes. Encore une fois, félicitations à Haïti et félicitations à nous tous. Bravo Haïti. Merci.
Thank you. Pardon. Thank you. Colombia, you have the floor.
Gracias, señora presidenta, y por la brevedad del tiempo quería unirme a las expresiones de mis colegas del GRULAC y otros colegas también que han hablado felicitando a Haití por esta inscripción, felicitando también la posibilidad que tiene un comité de ser flexible, pero también de ir aprendiendo de estas situaciones inusuales como lo hemos ido haciendo durante este primer semestre y afinando un poco cómo perfeccionar el procedimiento en estos sentidos. Así que felicitaciones de nuevo a Haití, felicitaciones también por esta muestra de empatía, solidaridad, amistad que se mostró con esta inscripción. Nuestros comentarios técnicos ya los hemos hecho en otros espacios, así que apoyamos este endorsement. Y finalmente, last but not least, felicitar a todos los nuevos miembros del comité y desearles lo mejor en sus trabajos futuros. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Venezuela, you have the floor.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. También con aras del tiempo intentaré ser breve, puesto creo que lo que nosotros dijimos ya ha sido ampliamente indicado por tanto los colegas del GRULAC, así como por otros grupos regionales. Primero, Venezuela felicita a Haití por la inscripción de la sopa Joumou. Venezuela y el mundo tienen una larga deuda con Haití. Nuestro acompañamiento y relación con Haití predata incluso la presidencia de Alexandre Pétion en Haití y la revolución haitiana. Nosotros estamos felices que finalmente Haití logra de gozar de un elemento inscrito y esperamos y con gran ansias los próximos elementos que serán inscritos que permitirán darle mayor visibilidad a toda la riqueza cultural que tiene Haití, que puede compartir con el mundo. Habiendo dicho eso, también acompañamos lo que han indicado, que esto ha sido también un momento de aprendizaje y futuras discusiones sobre cómo proceder ante este tipo de eventualidades y situaciones, considerando que lo necesario es de establecer un marco que permita actuar debidamente ante este tipo de eventos. Y de último, también felicitar a los nuevos miembros del comité y indicar nuestro interés de poder acompañarlos y apoyarlos en las próximas sesiones. Muchas gracias por todo el apoyo y felicitaciones otra vez y un aplauso de nuestra parte a los colegas y hermanos de Haití.
Thank you. Argentina, you have the floor.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. Quisiera felicitar primero a los Estados miembros que ingresaron al comité. También, por supuesto, felicitar a nuestros hermanos haitianos y celebrar la inscripción de la sopa Joumou en la lista representativa del Patrimonio Cultural Inmaterial de la Humanidad. Sinceramente, apoyamos y compartimos las hermosas palabras de Uruguay, sobre todo la cita a Cortázar. Y finalmente queremos además destacar el trabajo y los extensos debates mantenidos en el ámbito del comité. Invitamos a la Asamblea General a respaldar la recomendación que hicieron y por ende apoyamos este proyecto de decisión. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Ethiopia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me also join the many delegations who spoke to congratulate Haiti, the people and government of Haiti, and Ambassador Dominique Dupuy for the inscription of the Joumou soup. It is truly deserved. For us in Ethiopia and in Africa, Haiti has a special place. We consider it to be part and parcel of our continent, although it is in the GRULAC region. So our hearts are with the people of Haiti in these trying times, and the fact that our organization, in line with the Constitution which governs us all, showed true moral solidarity with the people of Haiti by inscribing in an accelerated schedule the Joumou soup actually means that we are living up to the legal requirements of our organization. It's a confirmation for us that UNESCO can indeed play a positive role in helping uplift a people who are living exceptional circumstances, who are undergoing exceptional hardship, both man-made and natural. Therefore, the fact that the committee lived up to its responsibility, for us, it means it has lived up to the texts as well. Therefore, we endorse fully the resolution that has been presented. We will not accept any changes or amendments that will water down this resolution. So we fully endorse it, we congratulate Haiti, and we look forward towards a similar spirit that will animate the coming committee members, of which we are one, of the Intangible Culture Heritage Committee, that this spirit should animate us in order to ensure that we show our relevance to people who suffer throughout the world, all over the world, not just in one part of the world. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Kenya has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Kenya wishes to congratulate Haiti for inscription of Joumou soup on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. This indeed is a great milestone for Haiti in demonstrating its resilience following a series of natural disasters that struck the country in August 2021. Kenya also wishes to congratulate the committee on its 16 sessions for having examined the element on an accelerated basis and proposing its inscription. Madam President, Joumou, a symbol of Haiti's freedom gained after independence. The element provides a sign of hope and encouragement to the people of Haiti as they strive to recover from exceptionally challenging circumstances. This inscription confirms the flexibility of the committee in making critical decisions regarding the examination of the elements. The people of Haiti can now enjoy this great inscription that gives them a sense of identity and continuity towards their intangible cultural heritage. Madam Chair, situations like the one that befell Haiti is not exceptional. We are all potential candidates for such vulnerabilities, and it is only fair that should such situations confront any other country, similar measures can be invoked to assist protect intangible cultural heritage through effective inscription of nominated elements and the framework of the Convention. This will motivate stakeholders of intangible cultural heritage to continue practicing and enacting their cultures. The procedure for evaluating and examining nominations, and in particular its timetable, is laid out in the operational directives for the implementation of this convention. The committee therefore examines a request for inscription and decides based on procedures foreseen in the operational directives. Madam President, Kenya therefore appreciates the very exceptional circumstances experienced by Haiti that necessitated the examination of the nomination on a fast-track basis. Much as Kenya notes its satisfaction that the inscription was undertaken under circumstances that were not foreseen in the operational directives, the procedures followed by the committee and its decision to inscribe requires the endorsement of the General Assembly. Kenya further welcomes the decision by the evaluation body to examine the element under the same conditions applied to assess nomination files in the 2021 cycle. We appreciate the work as well of the open-ended intergovernmental working group in the framework of the global reflection of the listing mechanisms of the 2003 Convention for discussing this matter. Finally, following the circumstances, situations, and scenarios that dictated the presentation by Haiti of the Joumou soup for accelerated examination and eventual inscription by the 6th session of the committee in 2021, it is Kenya's considered view that this General Assembly endorses the inscription of Joumou soup to the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. I thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Next on the list is Cook Islands.
Thank you very much, Mrs. President, and thank you for all my congratulations for your election as I take the floor for the first time. So first of all, I would like to welcome the new committee members, as ICH is very important for the Cook Islands. I would like also, of course, to congratulate Haiti and Dominique on the inscription of the traditional Joumou soup and savoir-faire as its first elements. I understand that this element is of tremendous importance for the people of Haiti. It's not just a soup, but a symbol of reconciliation in a country that has endured so many traumas. As mentioned previously by Barbados, 6 countries are highly vulnerable. And when it is possible to celebrate an event such as the inscription on the list of ICH, we small island states like to join the party. I have noticed, unfortunately, from the reporting of ICH that only 11 countries have been able to present elements. and only 9% of the 630 elements listed come from 6 countries. So once again, congratulations to Haiti for the listing of Joumou soup, and be ready to see more valuable elements presented by more 6 countries in the near future, with hopefully the assistance of the new committee members, development of capacity building, and simplification of the process. It is an urgent matter, and I would like to join the call for regulations regarding emergency cases, as climate change is affecting more and more of our 6 countries. Tuvalu has declared state of emergency on 20 March 2022. Sea level rise is a reality in the Pacific that could lead to forced migration of some of our people to foreign countries. Although they will do their utmost to bring with them their traditional and intangible heritage, without adequate protection, they could be lost forever. So we count on ICH. Thank you.
Thank you. Slovakia is next on the list.
Slovakia would like to congratulate Haiti for inscription of Joumou soup and really positively reflect that the committee reacted very promptly to the situation and decided for registration in an accelerated procedure during emergency situation. We found it not just as a useful tool for safeguarding of an element for people of Haiti, but also as an important expression of solidarity. We support the idea to prepare special emergency procedures for the future situation all around the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Chile has the floor.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. Primero, felicitar a los nuevos miembros del comité y pueden contar con el apoyo de Chile para lo que necesiten. Chile quisiera apoyar el procedimiento llevado a cabo por el Comité para la inscripción de la sopa Joumou de Haití en la lista del patrimonio inmaterial. Nos alienta mucho escuchar el amplio apoyo de la Asamblea a la decisión tomada por el Comité. Creemos importante que ante circunstancias extremas podamos ser solidarios, flexibles y comprensivos de las situaciones de los países que sufren más. De todos modos, coincidimos con la importancia de reforzar los procedimientos para que en el futuro no se cuestionen este tipo de decisiones tan importantes para las naciones. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Brazil, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brazil would like to welcome the new committee members and thank the Secretariat for this presentation. As many of you know, during the last ordinary session of the committee, Brazil was among the countries which supported the procedure adopted for the inscription of the Joumou soup on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. We were very glad that, although there were concerns at that time about adopting an exceptional procedure for that inscription, we all came to a consensual understanding in the committee that this was the right decision, because this was the decision that fulfills UNESCO's role in not only safeguarding intangible heritage, but in making use of culture as a source of hope and resilience for staunch but distressed people facing a severe humanitarian crisis. In taking this important decision, the committee could not and did not overstep the mandate granted by the 2003 Convention, nor did it deviate from the rules laid out by this General Assembly in the operational directives. The entire evaluation procedure was strictly followed in the same conditions and under the same criteria and methodology used for any other file examined by the committee. The exceptional recourse to the accelerated procedure was widely debated in consultation with the Office of the Legal Advisor to make sure that the decision was taken in the full legality within the prerogative of the committee and in light of the flexibility provided by the text of the Convention and its operational directives. Thus, as a member of the Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage, having taken active part in the decision that's now brought to the attention of its General Assembly, Brazil asks all its members to endorse the committee's decision and to reaffirm our message of hope and solidarity to the Haitian people. Thank you.
Thank you. Botswana, you have the floor.
As the neighbor of Brazil. Thank you very much, Chair. We take the floor to congratulate, basically. Congratulations to the new members who have been elected to the IGC, and we thank those members who are leaving the committee. We also would like to congratulate our sister, the ambassador of Haiti, the government and the people of Haiti for this inscription. We, of course, support the DR. Chair, I would like to suggest that if you want to be strict with your time, you should turn off the mic once the red light comes on. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the suggestion. And next on the list is Cyprus.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Nous félicitons aussi Haïti pour cette inscription et nous approuvons les inscriptions de l'extrême urgence. Par ailleurs, on doit établir les procédures de ce type d'inscription exceptionnelle. Merci.
Thank you. And lastly, Vietnam. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I wish to convey my warmest congratulations to Haiti and Haiti people for the inscription of the soup on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage. And we share the views with many previous speakers before me that given the challenging situation that the Haiti people have to face, so the soup is really the symbol of reconciliation, resilience, and the values of culture. So the inscription really reflects the friendship and solidarity and also the beauty of this convention. So in this regard, Vietnam would like to reiterate our support and fully endorse the draft decision, and once again congratulate Haiti, Ambassador Dominic, for the well-reserved and the first ever element. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think that the procedure used was clearly explained to us, together with the pertinent considerations as to the role of the committee and the General Assembly in this case. Let us move on now to the decision. Please refer to the draft resolution proposed in document 8, which will be shown on screen. I propose to go paragraph by paragraph because there was proposed amending language. So draft resolution 9GA 8 as shown on the screen. Do I see any objections? With paragraph 1? Yes, paragraph 1. Okay. There being none, adopted. Paragraph 2. Do I see any objections? There being none, adopted. Paragraph 3. No objections? Adopted. Paragraph 4. Is there an objection? There is none. It's adopted. Paragraph 5.
Has received an amendment from Grenada.
Yes. Okay. We are putting in the proposed amendment by Grenada.
No, 4. Off the procedure. Off, not that. Off.
Off.
No, it's fine. Not the procedure. No. There is no off.
No off. Note.
No, ella puso eso. Su mano.
Paragraph 5 as amended. Grenada, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will say a few words after listening to the room about this amendment. Again, we support totally and with great pleasure the inscription of the Joumou soup on the representative list. We commend the committee for having responded to the request of Haiti for an accelerated procedure to inscribe the Joumou soup on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. We are not trying to water down the decision, but in the contrary, to improve it. There is a massive support for the inscription, and we endorse the decision of the committee. But if we endorse the procedure itself, we are in contradiction with ourselves, because we are validating a procedure on the listing while we know that the open-ended intergovernmental working group meeting in the framework of the global reflection on the listing mechanism of the 2003 Convention has discussed this procedure and is giving a recommendation to, that we will probably consider tomorrow about another procedure for the accelerated processing. It is expressed in the paragraph 1190 of the summary records document Inf 4 of the summary records of the working group. So if we endorse the procedure, we are in contradiction with the recommendation that we will consider tomorrow offered by the working group. This is why my delegation is proposing further takes note for the, of the procedure. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ethiopia, then Japan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We listened carefully to what the representative of Grenada said, and we respectfully, completely disagree. This is a matter of substance. A matter of substance, whether or not we endorse the accelerated schedule, whether or not we endorse the compassionate grounds, whether or not we endorse the exceptional nature of the procedure followed in view of what the people of Haiti went through. It's a political matter. It's not a mere technicality. Therefore, for us, we do not accept to take note. We endorse. And we endorse fully. You can add maybe a word for me. Endorses fully. That would be my amendment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Japan, you have the floor.
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Madam Chair. And I forgot to say this earlier, but congratulations to the all new members of the ICH. Now, on this issue, as I remember, in the committee, we had extensive discussions. Now, at that time, because we didn't have a clear procedure for this, we agreed in the end that we have to go to the General Assembly. Now, if you change the word from endorse to take note, I don't think we can inscribe Haiti file. That is, I think, the understanding, because we agreed that General Assembly has to approve it. So perhaps the legal advisor can clarify this. If you change the word from endorse to takes note, we cannot inscribe Haiti file. That is my understanding. Please tell me if I'm wrong. And on top of that, I'm completely in agreement with what Ambassador of Ethiopia said. Yes, we have to endorse it. We have to endorse it fully. Thank you.
Thank you. We will address the question later to the legal advisor, but in the meantime, we go on with our speakers list. We have Colombia next.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Y frente a la duda que acaba de poner Japón, se me cae un poco mi argumento, porque entiendo que la enmienda de Granada es justamente para aclarar, y tuvimos una discusión larga en el grupo abierto de trabajo, como bien lo referenció Granada, para que se entienda que, claro, fue una situación extraordinaria. La apoyamos, estamos de acuerdo, nosotros ya, pues por lo demás, anunciamos nuestro apoyo, pero nos parece que el precedente no, hay que aclarar muy bien este precedente para futuras intervenciones o futuros casos, con lo cual nos gustaría también conocer la opinión o el concepto más bien del consejero jurídico y ver cómo podemos hacer para que esto se reconozca que fue un caso legítimo, aprobado y que esta asamblea va a aprobar, pero también que, como lo hemos expresado en otros espacios, no queremos que se repita el fast track, sino más bien que se acuda a las herramientas que ya existen, como el artículo 17.3, que tal vez necesita también aclararse un poco en sus procedimientos, como ya lo dijeron Palestina, Chipre y otros. Así que agradecemos esa claridad y esperamos que podamos adoptar esto fácilmente. Gracias, señora presidenta.
Another question to the legal advisor to be addressed later. But first, we call on Palestine. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think here we are mixing two things. The inscription of the Joumou soup is not opposed by anybody, and all the state parties who expressed their position, they started by congratulating Haiti. Same thing Grenada did. I think we need to be very careful when we talk about approving a procedure. I don't agree with my colleague from Ethiopia. We can't fully endorse this procedure. I'm sorry. It has been discussed. It is true, as Ambassador of Japan said. But to endorse the procedure without having references in the operational guidelines, I'm not sure about the legality of the issue. More than that, we can take note, maybe to make it halfway between endorsing and taking note, we can say further takes note with satisfaction. We express our satisfaction for the procedure followed without saying that we endorse it or we don't endorse it. This makes it halfway, I think, and this is the best way to respect the future work of the Assembly and the working groups, and noting that this question should be legally dealt with in order to reflect such procedures in the legal text of the conventions and especially in the operational guidelines. So personally, I think there is a halfway between the two proposals. Taking note or endorsing, we take note with satisfaction. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And Djibouti, you have the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Madame la Présidente, je croyais qu'on était aujourd'hui dans un moment de célébration. Mais si l'on va commencer à toucher aux mots et aux mots qui ont un sens, croyez-moi que ma délégation avait été présente dans la salle et avait défendu cet élément. Aujourd'hui, revenir à cette heure tardive à vouloir toucher, je crois qu'il n'est pas de bonne loi. Et ma délégation soutient la proposition faite par l'Éthiopie de ne pas toucher au texte, sinon améliorer le texte pour dire que nous devons soutenir pleinement l'inscription de la soupe au jour au mois. Madame la Présidente, ne regardons pas seulement nos façons de parler et nos façons de vouloir montrer que nous nous exprimons bien. Il y a derrière tout un pays qui nous regarde. Il y a derrière toute une population qui nous regarde. Il y a derrière tout un peuple qui nous regarde. Soyons sérieux, relevons la tête, montrons que nous sommes également solidaires et ne commençons pas à ouvrir une Pandora Box dont nous ne saurons la fermer très vite. J'en appelle à tous nos amis. Il y a un texte qui a été présenté. Nous pensons que le texte initial présenté est le meilleur et avançons. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, and may we call on the legal advisor to address the questions raised.
Yes, Madam Chair, good afternoon again. And I believe that ultimately it's just one question in several iterations, so I'll address those. Prior to getting into that, I should point out that I would like to note to what extent there seems to be actually an overwhelming consensus in this room. As I should say, there was an overwhelming consensus in the room of the committee back in December as to two things. The first is to inscribe the Joumou soup in the representative list, and second, to not let the governing bodies of this convention be stopped by the fact that a procedure is not specifically provided for, at least in the specific instance. Madam Chair, my legal advice has already been asked on the nomination filed by the committee at its December session, and with your permission, I would like to recall the main points of that legal advice because they do answer the questions asked by the distinguished ambassador of Japan and the distinguished representative of Colombia. As I explained then, the operational guidelines contain a precise timetable for the evaluation and examination of nominations, which does not foresee the examination of a nomination on an accelerated basis. And this has been repeated today on several occasions. Given this silence, one needs to refer to the Convention itself. And the Convention establishes an institutional mechanism of checks and balances, by which, pursuant to Article 7G, the committee is vested with the authority to examine requests for inscription and to decide on those requests. But at the same time, Article 7, paragraph E, says that it must do so following procedures foreseen in the operational directives, which are prepared by the committee but approved by this assembly. I therefore explained at the time that should the committee consider that exceptional circumstances warrant the accelerated examination of this nomination, it could consider the possibility of doing so, and if it were to find that the conditions were fulfilled, it could inscribe the element on the representative list, which is what took place. However, I pointed out at the time that given that the inscription would then have taken place in circumstances that are not foreseen by the operational directives and under a procedure that is not foreseen by the operational directives, the procedure followed by the committee, and I emphasize it is the procedure and not the inscription, for the inscription, would require the endorsement of the General Assembly. And it is, I believe, on this basis that the committee took the decision it took. One last point, Madam Chair. I believe that to a certain extent, and maybe I am mistaken, the discussion arises from what might be let's say, an ambiguity that one could read in paragraph 5. What the Assembly would be endorsing, if it chooses the word endorse, is the procedure that was followed in this specific instance, which, as the committee has pointed out, it is an exceptional procedure. And again, if you read the decision of the committee, paragraph 7, which decides the inscription, is followed by a paragraph 8, which notes that this inscription occurred on an exceptional basis with respect to procedures. So this is without prejudice to the further work that under the proposals from the working group the Assembly may decide to do with respect to the operational guidelines. So maybe a possibility might be, with your permission, Madam Chair, to actually emphasize that point if indeed this is what poses problems. For example, saying that endorses the procedure followed on an exceptional basis for the inscription of the Joumou soup. Maybe that might meet the concerns of both kinds of delegations. Of course, if that were not the case, please do not consider this a proposal, but rather a technical way of trying to respond to what I seem to have heard from the room. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Legal Advisor. And now may we proceed with our speakers list. Poland, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Poland is a member of the committee who was very much in favor of the inscription of the Joumou soup on the intangible representative list. I wanted to add one thing. I wanted to ask the legal advisor, and that was raised at that time as well, what are the legal basis of the endorsement of the GA of any decision of the committee? And then again, I wanted to ask another question. As it states in the decision itself, paragraph 7, the decision taken from December, the committee decides to inscribe the Joumou soup on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Today, I've heard some delegations saying that the element is not inscribed. I understand that the committee took a solid decision and valid decision and inscribed the element on the representative list. Thank you.
Thank you. While waiting for the answer of the legal advisor, we ask Cameroon to take the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente, de nous donner la parole. Le Cameroun souhaite ici, à la suite des distingués délégués, dire que, en tant que membre du comité, nous avons effectivement participé à l'adoption ou à la validation de l'inscription de la soupe au Joumou sur la base de la situation exceptionnelle qui nous avait été présentée, d'ailleurs qu'il n'y avait pas de secret aux facteurs qui ont été à l'origine de cette demande et que c'est de manière consensuelle que les membres du comité avaient décidé, au regard des valeurs de fraternité et de solidarité, de soutenir ici la demande qu'avait introduite la délégation de Haïti. Et aujourd'hui, dans le cadre de cette auguste Assemblée générale, le Cameroun souhaite apporter tout son soutien à cette décision. Et nous voulons comprendre qu'il y a certainement une nuance entre une procédure et une décision de fond. Mais nous voulons aussi admettre que si un texte juridiquement ne prévoit pas une procédure, mais peut-être autorise au comité la possibilité d'adopter de manière exceptionnelle au regard d'une situation ponctuelle urgente. Il s'agit d'une reconnaissance aussi d'une certaine autorité au comité, même si au regard de la gouvernance même de la Convention, cette décision doit être entérinée au niveau de l'Assemblée générale. Les mécanismes d'inscription qui sont en cours de révision, nous pensons que ces amendements-là, même si elles venaient à proposer, comme elles vont proposer de nouvelles procédures en la matière, ces procédures-là ne devraient pas rétroagir. Elles vont certainement s'appliquer à des situations futures. C'est tout simplement cela que le Cameroun veut peut-être apporter comme contribution et se dire que nous soutenons pleinement l'inscription de la soupe au Joumou proposée par Haïti. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you. And now we call on Grenada to take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. As the legal advisor said a few minutes ago, it is about the procedure. It is not about the inscription. I don't understand why, for some delegations, the inscription is put into question. The soup has been inscribed, and for us and for all members who spoke, members of the delegation, they congratulate Haiti, and we commended the committee to have found a solution to the special request in an accelerated manner. Now, I'm really surprised that it is taken on a very political basis, and my delegation would have accepted further takes note with satisfaction, or maybe the proposal by the legal advisor endorses the procedure on an exceptional basis. But, Madam Chair, I think that this is not the place to question the inscription itself. It is a marvelous inscription, and once again, I would like to congratulate the Ambassador of Haiti for having so well prepared the dossier in a very short time. We have lessons to learn from her, but I think that it is painful to listen to interpretation of this slight amendment, and I hope that the working group will propose to us a new accelerated procedure that we will accept, all of us, by consensus. So for my part, Madam Chair, if it's a solution, I withdraw my amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Point of order requested by Uruguay.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. Mi participación era antes de que Granada dijera que retiraba su enmienda si eso era lleva de consenso, pero en realidad Uruguay lo que quiere como punto de orden es que la Asamblea pueda expedirse sobre la propuesta que hacemos nuestra, que ha dicho el señor asesor jurídico con respecto a una solución de consenso con respecto a el procedimiento y no la inscripción, tal como lo dijo el doctor Villalpando hace un momento. Esta sala tiene un consenso de fondo. Estamos, por supuesto, los estados tienen todo el derecho a hacerlo, pero creo que estamos extendiendo una resolución que resulta imprescindible y hay un punto de acuerdo con respecto a lo que señala el doctor Villalpando. Creo que la Asamblea tiene que poder expedirse sobre esa propuesta que, repito, Uruguay presenta como suya con la venia del señor asesor jurídico.
It has to be typed in.
Yes.
Yeah. For everybody to see.
You want to read it? Please.
Okay. So with the latest proposed amendments, remove endorse, delete endorse.
Put it back.
Oh, put it back. It's deleted there. Okay. Put back endorses, which now reads, endorses the procedure followed for the inscription of Joumou soup on an exceptional basis as part of the 2021 cycle on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity.
Come on. No, ask if there's...
Do we see anybody opposing
Palestine
the
is
amended text?
it's not really opposition, but rather enhancement, and we can go along with it, endorses, comma, on an exceptional basis, comma, the procedure. The placement of on an exceptional basis should follow the endorsement. We endorse on exceptional basis. Thank you, Madam Chair. It should, yes, on exceptional basis, right after endorses.
The legal advisor has a comment.
Quite simply, Madam Chair, on a technical matter, the placement of where you put on an exceptional basis changes the meaning of what you're saying. If you what you're doing, you're endorsing on an exceptional basis, you're insisting on the fact that what is exceptional is your endorsement by the General Assembly. If, on the contrary, you leave it where it is right now, you are emphasizing on the fact that appears also in paragraph 8 of the decision of the committee, that the procedure for the inscription was applied on an exceptional basis. So there's a slight difference. On an exceptional basis, the placement as it is currently now is the Assembly endorses a procedure that was applied on an exceptional basis. That's the meaning of the text as it appears right now. If that is what the room wants to say, then this is what the text says right now with the placement of that phrase at that point in time. Thank you very much.
Somebody? Okay. Well, with that advice from the legal advisor, can we adopt?
No, Palestine doesn't.
Palestine, you have the floor.
Thank you. But I think it's our duty to say whether we endorse it on exceptional basis or not. We understand that already the committee had followed this procedure on exceptional basis, and it has been mentioned. But now also for the endorsement, we endorse it, we have no problem, but on exceptional basis. Why? Because we want to have such procedures reflected in the operational guidelines. We want to have clear mechanism and not having exceptional things all time. I'm sorry, but we can't work this way. So we can go along with this amendment, but endorses on an exceptional basis the procedure. Thank you.
Uruguay, you have the floor.
Como todos ustedes saben, recientemente el embajador de Túnez nos ha dejado en sus funciones, y con él, sinceramente, siempre decía una frase que creo que nos viene al pelo: para alcanzar un consenso todas las partes se tienen que acercar. Entonces, Uruguay no tendría problema con lo planteado por el embajador de Palestina. Podemos poner, aunque quede tautológico, 2 veces la palabra excepcional. El tema es que creemos realmente de que hay que poder avanzar. Esto no cierra la puerta a que en el futuro las cuestiones excepcionales tengan un encuadre determinado. Muchas gracias, señora presidenta.
Perú, then Ethiopia.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Señora presidenta, creo que el ánimo en esta reunión ha sido de felicitar y celebrar la inscripción de Haití. Entonces, cualquier enmienda que busque sembrar algún tipo de duda sobre la legalidad del procedimiento seguido por el comité, que como ya lo dijo la delegada de Polonia, fue una decisión del comité del cual Perú es parte, fue una decisión firme. Yo creo que no ayuda a este ambiente de la Asamblea de celebración de la inscripción de Haití. No compartimos la posición de Palestina de poner los brackets después del verbo endorse. En un ánimo de buscar un consenso, estamos de acuerdo en que podía estar donde el asesor legal lo ha puesto, ¿no? En donde se encuentra en este momento. Gracias, señora presidenta.
Ethiopia, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I really have difficulty with my friend, the ambassador of Palestine, pushing this issue to such extent, especially from Palestine. It's I think accelerated schedule, compassion, grounds and exceptional basis should be something that should be endorsed by all of us, especially those of us who face difficulties. But in any case, that is a commentary aside. For the purpose of compromise, I accept what he has suggested and the placement of where it is. But the word endorses remains. Thank you.
We will have to decide where to put on an exceptional basis, after endorses or after Joumou soup.
Screen first.
Madame la Présidente, vous m'avez donné... Yes, thank you. Madame la Présidente, je crois que nous avançons. Je crois que le conseiller juridique nous a fait une proposition. Le représentant du Pérou l'a appuyé. Ne passons pas davantage et ne perdons pas de point de vue l'inscription. La technicalité, laissant de côté, Madame la Présidente, nous pensons que nous avons un texte tel qu'il est, tel qu'il figure, accepté, je crois, communément accepté. Il y a un large consensus qui se dessine. Et je vous prie, Madame la Présidente, de pouvoir clore le débat sur ce point. Merci.
What we would like to ask the General Assembly is whether the text as shown on the screen is acceptable. We need to wind this up. The interpreters are going to leave soon. We're running out of time. It's now 7:21. Kuwait, you have a point of order.
Madam Chair, again, as I always say, the procedure is important. And right now, you said I'll give the floor to Djibouti and Kuwait. And I think it's the responsibility of the Secretariat to remind you before, not to skip member state. Saying that, and I know it was an intention. Madam Chair, I think, what's been discussed regarding the place of the exceptional basis. And I was, what we discussed in the committee is now, we're giving the chance for the General Assembly. This is why the point of the General Assembly to endorse, to have the discussion. So I think, it's a middle ground, what our dear colleagues from Palestine, and I heard some people, is to have it after and endorse. And I think so we can move forward. Again, the inscription, no one has, ever questioned it. And inscription, even if I remember, like paragraph 3, that it was been added by Kuwait. And the inscription, the inscription, because of the technicality, it was a 5 out of 5. Now we are talking about the procedure. And the reason is why it's not, should be in the beginning, because if we say the procedure, should be a reference. And if I ask the Secretariat, what is the reference, so I can follow, there's no reference. That's what we have in the working group, as mentioned by our colleague of Japan. So Kuwait suggests, like our dear colleague from Djibouti, to close it and to enjoy, the inscription is to have it after endorsement, and we can move forward. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Merci. Juste pour, moi je préfère d'ailleurs cette proposition de conseillère juridique, mais pour terminer ce soir, on peut mettre 2 fois exceptionnel. Ça veut dire approuve exceptionnellement la procédure suivie, nanana, sur une base exceptionnelle. Comme ça, tout le monde est content. Bonsoir.
Okay, do we have an agreement on Cyprus's proposed text?
Yes, we have.
Okay. No. Ethiopia, you have.
No, we have gone to the extent of accepting putting an exceptional basis after endorses. We are okay with it. Although we are not happy with it, we are okay with it. So you can put it there and we go, but not twice exceptional. Nobody is 2 times exceptional, madam.
Djibouti.
Oh.
Really exceptional.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, why are we going to look after difficulty? We have a text here on the dash. Everybody see it. Why are we going to change it to the other side? This is the easiest way to go, to adopt this one, and we're done. Moi, je ne comprends pas, avec mon collègue, l'ambassadeur du Koweït, qui a dit qu'on veut aller finir très rapidement, et nous sommes d'accord avec le texte, pourquoi aller chercher à modifier le on an exceptional basis et le ramener après endorse? Je vois la petite différence, mais nous avons ici avec nous le conseiller juridique qui nous a conseillé, il est payé pour ça. Je crois que c'est pour cela que nous avons un texte ici. Nous avons un texte ici qui est acceptable et qui est vu par tout le monde. Je pense qu'on peut l'adopter. Merci.
Thank you for those comments. Palestine, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, it is a point of order first. We proposed something that has been supported by others, including those who were opposing it, and I thank Ambassador of Ethiopia for his flexibility, but it is not yet reflected on the screen. Let us see on an exceptional basis right after endorses. So please, put it on the screen. This is the first thing. Second thing, there were many supports to have it both after endorses and after soup. And we are not opposed to this solution. Still, I'm waiting to see the text on the screen. Yes, with this text, we can go along, and there has been so much support for the text as it appears right now. So I think now you can ask if there is no objection, and now it could be adopted after this. Thank you, Madam Chair.
No, we didn't agree to 2 exceptional bases. Please eliminate the second one. We agree to the placement, but you can't have 2 exceptionals.
No, it's okay after the first one. Good.
Can you give me the floor?
No.
Let's give a chance to the other speakers. Japan?
No, here, you have to make your suggestion. Then I'm almost certain that everybody would agree. Thank you.
It seems to me that we are all for one thing. We have a consensus here, and we should not find it difficult to find a common language that we could agree on. So I think just a matter of flexibility, if we have to mention exceptional basis twice, just so we could finish this document. Ethiopia.
Madam Chair, we agreed to move a step closer to what the Palestinian ambassador suggested, meaning moving exceptional basis after endorses. We don't like it, okay? We don't like it. But we accept in the spirit of consensus. But we don't accept to have 2 exceptional bases. That is the consensus. It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't even make sense. So please, remove the second one. We accept this proposal to put it after endorses, and we go home.
No, the first one is okay.
Okay, first of all, ADG would like to say something.
We are so tired. Okay. The situation is the following. Our interpreters have been very, very supportive. They have been saying so. Please, an applause, because they merit it. Thank you. We're gonna try to understand. We have 3 different proposals. There is no unanimous in the room, because you are saying that no, there is 3 different proposals. We are all agree with the 5. What we don't agree, what you don't agree, is on exceptional basis. So we have one option is the way that it's seen after endorsed. We have some in the room are not agree with this. You have the second after Joumou soup. Some of you are not agreeing with this. Or we have both, and some of you are not agreeing on this. So that's the reality. So don't say that we can go in this direction, because there is no direction. Today we have this problem that we have twice the same. So if somebody have the solution to finish and to leave our interpreters go home, President.
Panama, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I have been asking for the floor now for 15 minutes. We have here a situation that is very sad. You know, we have a situation that touches the heart of the Haitian people. We are not just playing with words, what goes before and what goes after. Several of my colleagues here think that if they talk more, they have the right word, or they have the reason to this discussion. We have a legal advisor that is supposed to advise us, the member states, on what is the legal way to go. And he gave us an answer, which the delegation of Panama supports. We support what Mr. Villalpando says is the right way to go. This is not a matter of bringing down the enthusiasm that we had when we inscribed the Joumou soup. What are we doing here? How long are we going to continue doing this? We did it before. We agree, we don't agree, but we're talking of the Haitian people. The Haitian people that have an inscription since December. And nobody, according to what I have heard this afternoon, disagrees. So we are now spending hours to see who speaks louder, who thinks that by speaking several times can convince the rest. In my case, I'm not convinced, except for the fact that since I'm not a lawyer, I depend on the legal advisor. And I recommend the Assembly to go along with the legal advisor. This is not a matter of heart, of how I feel or how it sounds. It's what it's supposed to do. So, Madam Chair, Panama delegation supports the proposal of Mr. Villalpando, the correct way to go. Thank you.
Madagascar, you have the floor.
Merci bien, Madame la Présidente. Nous n'avons pas beaucoup parlé aujourd'hui, mais il est des moments où il faut parler. Le professeur que je suis a bien entendu ce qu'a dit Monsieur le conseiller juridique. Il a dit que le plus important, c'est de dire que approuver, il me semble que c'est ça, la procédure. Donc, approuve la procédure. La procédure de quoi? Pour l'inscription de la soupe au Joumou, et on met en exergue, virgule, sur une base exceptionnelle, virgule, on aurait pu mettre 2 tirets, sur une base exceptionnelle, dans le cadre du SIX, etc., jusqu'à humanité. La première formulation respecte le fond, mais aussi respecte la forme. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Bien noté. And next speaker is Lebanon.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Pour vous dire la vérité, je suis un peu étonné. On dirait que cette salle ne veut pas approuver cette décision, tout simplement. On a bien entendu ce qu'a dit Monsieur le conseiller juridique. Il a raison. Certains États ont quand même fait ce pas vers le consensus en approuvant que, sur une base exceptionnelle, soit après approuve. Vraiment, je ne comprends pas ce qui se passe dans cette salle. En revanche, sur un point d'ordre, oui, effectivement, à plusieurs reprises, des États ont demandé à ce que le second sur une base exceptionnelle soit enlevé. Il ne l'a pas été. On aurait pu l'enlever et demander après s'il y a quelqu'un qui s'oppose, et peut-être qu'on aurait terminé. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Okay, just to announce that we no longer have interpreters.
Haiti is the last one who is asking.
Haiti, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've been very silent. Donc, je crois effectivement que c'est un point d'ordre parce qu'il y a une proposition qui a été faite et qui a eu un soutien très bien exprimé par la salle, malgré des réserves, mais dans l'esprit de consensus. L'ambassadeur d'Éthiopie l'a bien exprimé, nous irions avec la proposition de la Palestine. Elle n'est pas reflétée sur l'écran. Et donc, même si je veux bien croire que je suis et qu'Haïti est doublement exceptionnel, je comprends que pour un document, ça soit une formulation difficile à accepter. Donc, j'implore, dans le cadre de ces contraintes de temps et dans le cadre du fait que nous sommes tous fatigués et qu'il y a derrière tout ça une question de fond, j'implore que nous puissions afficher la proposition palestinienne et que vous, Madame la Présidente, soumettiez à l'appréciation de la salle cette proposition telle qu'elle est et que nous avancions pour en conclure. Merci beaucoup.
Haiti has spoken, and the text proposed is endorses on an exceptional basis the procedure followed for the inscription of Joumou soup as part of the 2021 cycle on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Does anybody oppose this formulation? Okay. It's hereby adopted.
And you can adopt the full decision. You have to adopt the full decision.
Okay.
The full decision.
There's only one thing to do to adopt the whole decision. Is there any objection? This is draft resolution 9GA8. If there's no objection, the whole resolution is adopted.
Can you give the floor to Haiti?
We would like to give the floor to Haiti.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize for taking the floor a second time. Je sais que nous sommes tous très fatigués et je vous promets d'être brève. Et je vous implore, Madame la Présidente, de ne pas couper le micro tel que l'a sollicité mon frère du Botswana. J'aimerais tout d'abord exprimer mes plus sincères félicitations aux nouveaux membres élus au comité aujourd'hui. Madame la Présidente, il est important pour moi de rappeler qu'il y a un an, demain, le 7 juillet 2021, Port-au-Prince se réveillait dans l'effroi et dans le choc. Lentement, ce jour-là, c'est tout Haïti, dans tous ses recoins les plus profonds, qui était envahi d'un sentiment déboussolant d'incrédulité et de panique. Aux multiples défis auxquels nous faisions déjà face, venait s'ajouter, il y a un an, demain, un deuil inédit. Un président en fonction était crapuleusement assassiné dans sa résidence par des mercenaires étrangers. Le continent américain n'avait pas connu un tel magnicide depuis un siècle, alors que cet assassinat déclenchait une situation politique compliquée. Un mois et demi plus tard, soit le 14 août 2021, la terre tremblait. Une secousse sismique majeure ravageait toute la péninsule sud du pays, n'épargnant rien sur son passage, ni écoles, ni hôpitaux, ni églises, ni vies humaines. Sans répit, un coup de grâce suivait avec l'arrivée 2 jours plus tard de la tempête tropicale Grace qui balayait cette même péninsule et provoquait une crise humanitaire grave avec près de 600 000 déplacés et un abîme psychotraumatique
collectif. Madame la Présidente, seule la dignité peut relever les hommes et les femmes mis à genoux par les épreuves de la vie. Cette même dignité, cette conviction inébranlable dans le droit à la vie, libre et digne de tous les hommes et de toutes les femmes, est l'élan qui avait animé la première révolution réussie d'esclaves, qui avait permis la victoire de l'armée de Dessalines contre l'oppression du régime colonial et son système esclavagiste. C'est de la dignité qu'est née la première république noire de l'histoire de l'humanité, mon pays, Haïti. Aujourd'hui, nous savons que le grain de l'espoir existait dans cette maison. Haïti l'avait semé ici, à l'UNESCO, à travers son adhésion le 18 novembre 1975. Et aussi, lorsqu'en mars 2021, la délégation permanente soumettait le premier dossier de candidature d'un élément haïtien pour une inscription sur la liste représentative du patrimoine culturel immatériel. Le 23 août 2021, suite à ces tragédies en cascade, Haïti sollicitait un traitement accéléré afin que ce dossier déjà soumis puisse être inscrit dans l'année en cours. En ce sens, c'est avec honneur et avec émotion, même si j'ai promis de ne pas pleurer aujourd'hui, que je remercie le secrétariat qui a reçu et traité cette requête, l'organe évaluateur qui a déterminé que le dossier répondait parfaitement aux 5 critères. Je remercie aussi le comité intergouvernemental qui a approuvé l'inscription de l'élément le 16 décembre 2021, le working group, le groupe de travail qui a travaillé sur les questions relatives à la procédure et aujourd'hui l'Assemblée générale, vous tous qui avez pris la parole, qui êtes restés tard, qui avez exprimé et manifesté votre soutien sans équivoque pour Haïti afin que l'on consacre cette reconnaissance historique. La soupe Joumou, que je vous invite enfin à partager dès demain, incarne la conviction pionnière qui tisse l'ADN commun d'Haïti. Sa préparation représente un rituel ininterrompu depuis le 1er janvier 1804 à nos jours. Sa consommation et son partage entre tous sont l'expression ultime de cet acte de foi dans des lendemains meilleurs. Même aux moments les plus sombres de nos parcours de peuple, l'inscription de la soupe est une ode à la liberté, est une ode à la dignité. L'inscription de la soupe est un véritable baume pour l'âme, le remède qu'il nous fallait afin que nous puissions nous relever nous-mêmes, individuellement et collectivement, afin que nous puissions réanimer l'audace et la vision de nos pères fondateurs et de nos mères fondatrices, et que nous puissions à nouveau et contre toute attente défendre et inspirer tous les opprimés, tous les sans-voix et tous les invisibles de ce monde. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente, et je vous remercie tous. Merci beaucoup. Merci un pile. Aïbobo.
Thank you for that speech, Haiti. And en titre exceptionnel, we request Germany to take the floor.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente, chers collègues, chers amis. Félicitations à Dominique. Pour finir cette journée en beauté, cette belle journée ensoleillée parisienne qu'on a passée bien protégée dans cette cave, je vous invite en rentrant pour vous remercier de votre confiance, pour célébrer ceux qui ont été votés aujourd'hui, élus aujourd'hui, pour consoler ceux qui seront élus une autre fois. Je vous invite à passer par le stand Allemagne pour prendre une chope de la bière allemande et manger une pretzel allemande pourvu que la bière ait encore des bulles et au-dessus un peu d'écume et que les pretzels seront encore croquants. C'est juste là à la salle de pain perdu, pas perdu. Allez, venez vite.
Before I declare this session closed for today, just a reminder, the Bureau meets at 9:30 tomorrow at room 6. Session is closed.